An MLB scout went down to Tijuana. What happened next could have cost him his job. Convincing your boss to take a risk is one thing, but convincing him to take a gamble on someone who looks completely wrong for the job, that's a different story. And it's exactly the spot that Dean DeCellis found himself in a Mexican baseball showcase down in Tijuana. The veteran Toronto Blue Jays scout had just seen a 17-year-old prospect who knocked his socks off. But there was just one problem. He pulled out his phone and called his boss, Andrew Tinish, the VP of International Scouting for the Toronto Blue Jays. He said, "Look, this guy's big. He's going to walk into a professional complex and people are going to be like, what's going on? Who is this guy? But I'm telling you, he can hit, and I'm telling you, he can catch." According to those inside the organization, DeCellis carried an ironclad reputation. But this prospect wasn't the easiest sell. For starters, he wasn't even there to scout this guy. He was actually there to see a different catcher on the other team. That all changed when the ball game started. His attention quickly shifted to the 5'7", 260-pound catcher on the other team. He knew nothing about him besides his name, Alejandro Kirk. It started to be, I like Kirk's swing better than the other guy that I'm here to see. And then it started to be, I think Kirk throws better than the guy I'm here to see. And then, by the fourth inning, it was, I actually think he catches better than the guy that I'm here to see. Most would have dismissed him for his physique alone, but DeCellis saw beyond it. Kirk was ice cold at the plate. You might have thought he was playing wiffle ball in his backyard. He called a great game behind the plate too, controlling the base runners and blocking every errant pitch. Still, DeCellis was realistic. He really didn't know if they were going to sign him. His boss easily could have said, look, this guy's 5'7", he's 260 pounds, we haven't even seen him play. DeCellis warned the player development guys that they wouldn't like what they saw physically, but he assured them this guy could play. When he got home, he showed his boss, Andrew Tinish, video from the game. Tinish said, "To be candid, when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay, that's not great. The first thing you notice is the body, and that's not your prototypical body. Not that catchers aren't shorter and thicker, they are, but he was just shorter and thicker than most of them." But Tinish could not deny that this kid's swing jumped off the screen. Even when he took pitches, he looked like a future major leaguer. No other MLB teams were in on Kirk, so they were able to strike a $30,000 deal to sign him. Only $7,500 went to him, and the rest went to his Mexican League team to acquire his rights. At the time, the contract was a lottery ticket, but looking back now, it was a bargain. Kirk said, "I didn't even know they went to see someone else at the showcase. I did the best I could, and eventually they signed me. I guess they liked what I did." A few months later, Andrew Tinish was at the Blue Jays complex in the Dominican Republic. He spotted a guy half a football field away wearing a team uniform. He was like, "Who is that? Is that a player? Is that one of the coach's kids?" And then it hit him. It was Alejandro Kirk. The 5'7" catcher had arrived. He got his foot in the door. But as those two would say, the rest was all him. If you've played any sport, you've probably been told along the way, play hard because you never know who's looking. High school kids are told that. There's going to be a college coach there looking for somebody else and you'll stand out. In Kirk's case, that kind of thing you've been told since you were a little kid actually happened. Alejandro started playing baseball when he was 3 years old, but he didn't start catching until he was 12. His childhood team needed a catcher and his dad nudged him to gear up. It wasn't a hard decision either because his older brother actually played catcher too. Growing up, coaches were surprised at how athletic he was, especially given his height and weight. Still, he had to work hard to shake off those rocky first impressions. Kirk said, "My physique, obviously I wanted to be taller. I wanted to have better tools. But this is what God gave me. I was never upset about this. I am very happy with what I have. I actually used my physique to push myself. I made myself get better. I wouldn't use it as an excuse that I was different from the other guys and their physiques. I wasn't going to give this up. It made me push myself harder than anybody else." He always had the dream of signing a pro contract, but he also realized that there were plenty of other guys with better tools than him and just looked better physically. But he kept working out and he kept believing. And then one day, his bat started doing the talking for him. Once an under-the-radar prospect, Kirk made quick work of the minor leagues. After a great 2019 in A-ball, he went from unranked to Baseball America's #4 prospect for the Blue Jays. He got his first taste of big league action in 2020, where as a 21-year-old, he hit .375 with a homer in 9 games. For most fans, it was their first time seeing Kirk play, and they quickly found out he wasn't just a gimmick, he was the real deal. Over his first 6 MLB seasons, Alejandro Kirk put together a .345 on-base percentage while slugging 51 homers, 82 doubles, and 1 triple. Yes, a triple. Baseball Savant ranked him as one of the game's best defensive catchers in terms of pitch framing and blocking. Blue Jays fans have fallen in love with their 2-time All-Star catcher, cheering on everything from his walk-off hits to his base running stumbles. In March of 2025, he signed a $58 million contract extension that'll keep him in Toronto through 2030. A long way away from those few $1,000s he got originally. He's become a shining example for kids of all backgrounds and body types that if you work hard, you can make it too. Toronto's former catching coordinator Ken Huckabee said, "There really aren't a lot of comps for the way he's built. Sometimes players come along that just break the mold. You can't explain it. They can just do it. And that's the way I look at him. He can do everything you ask, even though it looks like he probably shouldn't be able to." Outside of his physical talents, how has Kirk thrived in a sea of doubters? His old teammate Alec Manoah shared a story that describes his mindset. There was a TikTok that came out with someone making fun of his size. The person was like, "I can't believe this guy's a major league hitter." And Kirk was in the locker room just laughing about it. "I'm still here, I'm still doing good, so none of this really matters." Critics will always be there, but Alejandro Kirk will always tune them out. I remember talking to my dad one day saying, "I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. I'm gonna silence all these people." That day, my dad gave me great advice. He told me to forget the people, to do it for myself. Everything for myself. Everything that I accomplish is for me. I never think about my height or my weight. But if that can inspire a lot of kids, it would be awesome for them to keep working hard and accomplish their dreams.